I'm TerriTalleyVentures, and today I'm going to read you one of my short stories from my Elements of Mystery collection. Number 4, Beryllium. Eat some breakfast, Doug, Sonia scolded. Standing in front of the stove in the tiny kitchen in Boston, she scrambled eggs and fried bacon. No time. I'm going to be late for work, and we're already short 3 men. He crackled his knuckles and poured coffee into his thermos. You're getting skinny, Doug. What would your mother say? She'd tell you to eat. They yell at me for not feeding you like a good wife. Sonia's tone oozed with her Bostonian accent. Fine, I'll eat the bacon and toast on the way to the plant. He scooped a heaping spoonful of eggs right out of the frying pan and into his mouth. Then he cracked his knuckles again. And stop cracking your knuckles. It's disgusting and will give you arthritis. Sonia shook her head in frustration while wrapping the hot bacon and toast in parchment paper. It's the only thing that helps. My joints ache. I probably got arthritis already. Doug put on his hat and coat, then grabbed his coffee-filled thermos. Why is the plant 3 men short? It's not like making fluorescent light bulbs is hard work. Those guys are sick. Coughing, fever, shortness of breath, and chest pains. Seems like someone gets sick every day. Must be the flu or pneumonia, Doug explained. Or because they don't eat their breakfast. Sonia handed Doug his lunch pail and kissed him goodbye. Or because their wives nagged them to death. Doug smiled and left through the kitchen door. Finishing his breakfast on a 15-minute walk, Doug arrived at the plant. He took off his coat and hat and placed them in his locker along with his lunch pail. His co-worker, Mark, placed his things into the next locker and said, John just called in sick today. Just because he's a war hero doesn't mean he can play hooky. I don't care if he was awarded the Purple Heart for his role in Normandy. Now we gotta pick up the slack. We're another man short to add beryllium to the fluorescent light bulbs. They better pay me overtime. It takes longer to add beryllium now that they want more of it because it makes the bulbs brighter. Doug put on his hard hat and walked to his station on the production line. He coughed when he arrived at the station and chills ran through his body. You all right, Doug? You're not getting sick, are you? Danny asked with his thick Irish accent. I hope not. We're short enough men as it is. Any news on the other fellows? When are they getting back to work? Doug asked. You haven't heard? Heard what? That I gotta work more because a few guys had the sniffles? 3 of the men are in the hospital. Danny dropped his head and performed the sign of the cross. Dear God, no. Doug clutched his hand over his heart. His chest ached. Oliver passed away last night in the hospital. Danny crossed himself again. Danny worked his station diligently, trying to keep his mind off how awful he felt for Oliver and his family. The bell rang, resonating throughout the plant. It startled Doug. It wasn't quitting time yet. Why was the bell ringing now? Why would they halt production? Part of him was relieved to stop working. He felt horrible, and the thought of going home early and crawling into bed sounded marvelous. What's going on? Doug asked Mark and Danny as they walked by. Mark shrugged. Don't know. They called an emergency meeting in the break room. Doug walked with the other plant workers into the break room. Everyone mumbled with speculation about the purpose of the emergency meeting. The plant foreman stood next to the plant manager at the front of the break room. Both appeared saddened. Is everyone here? The plant manager asked. The workers searched the room and nodded their heads that everyone except the sick were present. I'm afraid we have some bad news. As many of you know, we've been short a few men for a few weeks. I want to thank all of you for working extra hard, but they're closing the plant until further notice. The workers grumbled. Doug worried about not getting paid. It was hard enough to get a job these days, especially since all the soldiers returned home from World War II over a year ago. Oliver Thompson passed away last night, and 3 others in the hospital with the same symptoms. Their prognosis is dismal. Apparently, Oliver died of Beryllium. They think that beryllium added to the fluorescent light bulbs caused his death. Doug grabbed Mark's shoulder and coughed repeatedly. His chest aches, and he collapsed to the ground. All right, come back next time for more stories. In the meantime, hit like, subscribe, and tell your friends, and go to my website, elementsofmystery.com, and check out all my books. See you next time.